Two friends, Ethan and Caleb, set out on a long overnight drive across a remote highway. They hadn't planned to travel after dark, but delays forced them onto the road as the sun disappeared. The landscape grew emptier with every mile. No houses, no lights, only endless trees and cracked asphalt. The radio hissed with static, and their phones had lost signal hours ago. Near midnight, headlights caught a lone figure standing by the roadside. A man, tall, still. He raised his arm slowly, as if he had been waiting. His clothes were dusty, old-fashioned, and his face was hard to make out. "Please," the man said when they rolled down the window, "take me with you. It's not safe here at night." After a brief glance at each other, Ethan unlocked the door. The man introduced himself as Marlowe. His voice was calm but hollow, like it echoed from somewhere deep. As the car moved, the temperature inside dropped slightly. Marlowe sat unnaturally straight, barely blinking. He didn't look out the windows. He stared forward, unmoving. Caleb tried to start a conversation. Marlowe answered slowly, choosing his words too carefully. Not long after, something darted across the road. Too fast, too tall. Ethan slammed the brakes, but nothing was there. Then another shape crossed behind them, thin, pale, and wrong. "What was that?" Caleb whispered. Marlowe smiled faintly. "They're always near roads like this," he said. "They like travelers." The forest thickened. Shadows between the trees seemed to move against the direction of the wind. Figures appeared briefly in the headlights. Humanoid silhouettes that vanished instantly. Each time one appeared, Marlowe grew more relaxed, almost pleased. "You shouldn't look at them too long," he warned. They noticed. Caleb realized something horrifying. The creatures never crossed in front of Marlowe's side of the car. Only Ethan's, only his. When Ethan checked the rearview mirror, Marlowe's reflection was wrong. Slightly delayed, slightly distorted. For a moment, his eyes reflected no light at all. The car suddenly stalled, engine dead. Silence swallowed the road. From the trees, whispers rose, dozens of voices overlapping, circling. Pale shapes crept closer, crawling, standing, vanishing. Marlowe opened the door calmly. "This is where I get off," he said, "and where you stay." As Marlowe stepped onto the road, his body changed. His shadow split into many shadows, stretching unnaturally across the asphalt. The creatures froze, as if awaiting permission. "You invited me," Marlowe said softly. "That's how it works." The engine suddenly roared back to life. By itself, Ethan sped away without looking back. In the distance, the creatures followed the car, but stopped at an invisible boundary. Breathing heavily, Caleb looked down at his arm. Hand-shaped marks were slowly appearing, cold and dark, as if something had held him from the inside. They reached a gas station at dawn. Safe, or so they thought. As Ethan paid, the cashier stared at him in confusion. "Sir, who was the third person in your car last night?" Ethan turned slowly toward the window. In the back seat, faint condensation formed a handprint on the glass, pressing from the inside. For days after that night, Ethan and Caleb tried to convince themselves it was over. They drove only during daylight, avoided empty roads, and never picked up strangers again. Yet every night, Ethan dreamed of the highway, endless, dark, stretching forever. In his dreams, the road always led back to the same place, and someone was always waiting by the shoulder. Caleb was changing. He complained of constant cold, even under the sun. He began waking up at exactly the same time every night, staring at the wall as if listening. When Ethan asked what he heard, Caleb answered quietly, "Footsteps? But not outside, inside my head." One evening, Ethan noticed something terrifying. Caleb's shadow didn't match his movements anymore. When Caleb stood still, the shadow twitched slightly like it was breathing. Ethan pretended not to notice, but his hands trembled uncontrollably. The memory of Marlowe's smile returned, slow, patient, knowing. They researched the highway online. Buried deep in old forums, Ethan found stories. Dozens of them. Travelers picking up a man who never aged. Strange figures crossing roads at night. Survivors who escaped, but were marked. Many accounts ended abruptly. No updates. No conclusions. Caleb started driving alone at night. He said he needed air. Ethan followed him once, staying far behind. Caleb's car didn't stop at red lights. It didn't slow for turns. And at one point, it drove straight past a closed road sign, as if the barrier wasn't there at all. Part 16, that night, Ethan confronted him. Caleb's eyes looked darker, deeper than before. "He's not gone," Caleb said calmly. "Marlowe doesn't leave. He trades places." Ethan felt the room grow colder. "Trades places with who?" he asked. Caleb smiled. "With whoever lets him in." The whispers returned, this time for Ethan too. Soft at first, then clearer. They spoke in overlapping voices, repeating fragments of the same sentence. "The road remembers." Outside, shadows moved against the streetlights, stretching unnaturally long toward the house. One night, Ethan woke to find the front door wide open. Caleb's car was gone. On the kitchen table lay a set of keys that weren't his. Old, rusted, cold to the touch. Etched into the metal was a symbol Ethan recognized from the forums, the mark of those who were chosen. Ethan drove to the highway at dawn. The air felt wrong, too still. At the exact spot where they had picked up Marlowe, he saw Caleb's car parked on the shoulder. Empty, engine cold. Then, slowly, someone stepped out of the trees. Tall, calm, familiar. The man raised his arm. Ethan felt his hand tighten around the steering wheel, but this time not by choice. A voice echoed softly in his mind, patient and certain. "The end."